is in boom. The PR transmissions will resume. We'll try to push drugs to keep us all dumbed down and hope that they will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package lie to keep us trapped in greed. Another green bells wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious.
Oh, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, I'm switching.
There we go.
Go. Yeah. Hey,
Hi,
everyone.
Miguel. Always first. We love ya.
Yeah. That's funny. We should have just like kept it like that for like 10 seconds just to be people like, is anybody there? Like, just
Be like, does anyone notice something different?
there's nobody here.
White males always go first. So
Yeah.
tonight was one of those times that is so difficult to pick. What do we want to share? Tonight was so difficult. I mean, like, I was getting overwhelmed looking at our texts and our messages and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. There's so much. It's like it's extra messy right now. Like extra messy. Oh my God. So Andrew, what have you been up to?
Miguel says hi for a change. He's first. Yeah. Been pretty busy with things. But yeah, just hanging out. My friend recently had a bachelor party, so that was fun.
Was it you?
It was not me.
Damn. I told everyone if he marries his girlfriend, I'm best man. I'm not asking. I'm just saying I'm best man. I'll wear a tux. I have no shame.
So, but yeah, what have you been up to?
I have been, sorry, I'm just trying to pick up Rockfin here, trying to get that going. I've been busy as always. I do want to say to anyone watching, if you have never watched a single one of my shows again, ever, please watch last night's show with Temujin Kensu. It's the third time I've interviewed him from prison. He has been wrongfully incarcerated for 37 years. I'm one of his biggest supporters. I love him so much. I interviewed him the first time from prison, and by the end of that show, I was like, what do I need to do? Like, I've never seen so much proof that someone was innocent. He has hundreds of thousands of supporters, including like Muhammad Ali's daughter, reps, judges, like tons of people. But Gretchen Whitmer, who they're trying to push for president, has had his case on her desk for years. And we've done thousands of emails, letters, phone calls. Nope. And she admitted it's because of one of her donors. So it's bad. I mean, you guys have to listen to the case, but Temujin is by far one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. He's just incredible. So please watch last night's show, share it, send it to your friends. We have to get him out. He has a brain tumor. He has a lot of medical issues, and he is 60. He went in at 23. He is now 60. We are so scared we're going to lose him. So we need to fight like hell to get that man out. So yes, please watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like Joy was saying, we have a lot of topics today. We're going to be talking about some people who have joined some of the UAW strikes, which is great solidarity there. We're going to talk about pharmacists who are walking out as we speak. And then we're going to be talking about, of course, Palestine and Israel, because how could we not? This has been quite an event with, yeah, we'll go into it. There's a lot to talk about there. And then we're going to talk about people freaking out over a Palestinian flag that Rashida Tlaib has, who's Palestinian. Then, of course, we're going to talk about some highlights from Hillary Clinton. And we're going to talk about a fun fact about Biden that maybe you didn't know. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yes. Lots of fun. All right, let's get going. We got a busy schedule tonight. What is
We
first?
do. Yeah. So yesterday, and this was posted so the 2 days ago.
Standing at the UAW 677 hall.
Stop. Not yet. All right. Yesterday, 73% of UAW members at Mack Trucks voted to reject the company's latest offer. This morning, 4,000 of them walked out on strike. It's time to make things right at Mack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this video that hopefully doesn't start before I have it start again. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of context to this strike after the video.
We are currently standing at the UAW 677 hall in Allentown, Pennsylvania. This morning, the text went out that we were leaving our jobs at 7 o'clock this morning, and everybody punched out and walked out together in unison.
We voted down our master contract.
And the people have spoken. 73% is not a low number.
The inflation rises and our wages don't go anywhere. We work a lot of overtime to try to make up for that gap, but we're getting to a breaking point. I think as a membership in whole, we can't keep working more hours to just pay our bills to make a life.
Cost of living allowance has been cut now through 2 contracts where we haven't gotten that, and cost of living has gone up as well as inflation.
We had changes in our medical benefits.
It's our time to get the COLA back, to get the cost of living back, so people can take care of their families.
Healthcare is right after that. It's important that everybody has the ability to have coverage so that if something happens to their family or themselves, that they're properly covered.
We build the best truck in the United States.
I'm hoping the company realizes their deal isn't the best deal, that they're able to match what we believe what we're worth.
We're just asking for a fair deal.
It's all about us working together, sticking together, and doing what's right by one another.
If it takes a week, if it takes 2 weeks, if it takes 6 months, we're going to fight that battle. We're here to fight.
So here's something you don't know. Ready for this? I'm going to blow your mind. My dad, I'm from Allentown. I'm from Bethlehem. My dad worked at that exact Mack Trucks for 45 years. He was a product manager there.
Wow.
I think you're on mute.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was. So that's interesting because it does say Pennsylvania is one of the locations where they're striking. So
yeah, it's Allentown.
That is wild. I think a couple of things I wanted to just add here that this video doesn't go into is that this is 4,000 unionized workers, right, that are walking out on strike through Mack. They were given the contract initially that the 73% of them said no to, gave them a 19% raise over 4 years, which is, to put into context, that is less than what the big three UAW asked. They were looking for 36% raises over 4 years, I believe. And so part of the issue and what was said in that video is that when it comes to inflation, the 19% just doesn't cut it over those 4 years. So now they are joining 30,000 people who are on strike across 22 states through the United Auto Workers union. So I think one of the things that is great to see is that I know that there is some debate over the strategy of the UAW, right? Where not some people are saying they should all be striking and they all shouldn't. Me personally, I don't think at this moment it's necessarily my place to get into the weeds of that, because that's something I feel like can be talked about later, right? They're in it, they're doing it, whatever. But what I
all
do,
locations.
yeah, because they're selective with their locations, and I know that
Right,
that has
right.
been, and honestly, to me, I'm like, that is something the workers can debate amongst themselves upon that. I don't really want to insert myself right into that right now because I don't know what's going on right now.
I mean, we don't know the situation. Maybe that's the only job in the town and they can't risk losing it. Maybe they're all single mothers. Who knows? So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of a, it's up to the workers. That's kind of
Yeah.
a lame criticism.
But what we can point to is that this is empowering other UAW workers outside of the big three to not accept their contracts and to go through there. So that is great to see. And hopefully it continues.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have there been any protests in Boston?
There has been. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to make my way over there, but yeah, there has been some protests in the greater Boston area, particularly regarding UAW. So yeah, it's it's happening here as well, and it's certainly, I know, happening in Chicago. There was a huge rally in Chicago a few days ago, where the mayor came. So
what a hero.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, like, sadly, that's better than most. I mean, yeah. So Walgreens. So now we're going to shift over to Walgreens. So Walgreens Pharmacy is having some walkouts. And so this is in Chicago. Employees at two of the largest drugstore chains in the United States say harsh working conditions make it difficult to safely fill prescriptions, which could put the health of their customers at risk. Now they're demanding change by staging a series of walkouts across the country. Pharmacy employees at some Walgreens stores, including pharmacists, technicians, and support staff, are planning a walkout between October 9 to 11. An organizer who asked to remain anonymous for fear of retribution from the chain confirmed to CNN. Some employees plan to walk out for just one day, while others expect to shutter their pharmacies for all 3 days. Employees at more than 500 of America's approximately 9,000 Walgreens stores across the United States have expressed interest in solidarity, a Walgreens pharmacy employee and walkout organizer said, though fewer will likely end up participating. CNN spoke to employees at 3 Walgreens stores in 3 states who said they plan on walking out. The planned action comes after pharmacy employees walked off the job at multiple CVS stores in the Kansas City area next week. The coordinated action at some Walgreens stores is in response to what pharmacy employees call burdensome prescription and vaccination expectation levied on pharmacists from corporate management, according to the organizer. As a result, employees often find themselves falling behind in dealing with angry customers. The company sets performance expectations based on the number of team members each pharmacy should have, said the pharmacy worker. However, in reality, staffing is much lower than that. At the same time, the workers said they've cut training hours for new technicians. We don't believe that Walgreens is allowing us to give our patients safe care on a daily basis, the organizer explained. Walgreens isn't responding. They're not fixing those things. A representative from Walgreens said the company has increased training for new pharmacists, but it has put a pause on what it called non-critical training during the busy immunization season. Walgreens representatives also told CNN there have never been corporate quotas and that all task-based metrics for retail pharmacy staff as part of team members' performance reviews were eliminated last year. The company said it has made $265 million in incremental investments in its nationwide pharmacy team this fiscal year and has created dedicated positions to manage inventory and administrative tasks for pharmacists. And so, yeah, that just gives a little bit of snapshot on what is going on there.
So it's
Yeah,
interesting
I mean,
about
the fact is
CVS.
that's
Oh, it's interesting about CVS because I don't know if you heard, but did you hear about what happened 2 weeks ago?
no, what happened 2 weeks ago?
So CVS is being sued for multi-billion dollars because they were giving people prescriptions that are controlled substances. They were giving them to people even though they weren't eligible to have them because they had recently filled them. And they were doing this with like thousands of people. Like, and it's things that are like, you know, like oxy and shit, like hardcore stuff, controlled substances. And they found it in their system at tons of stores. So they're being sued for multi-billion dollars. And let's face it, who does that fall back on? The pharmacists and the pharmacist techs. Because people go in and I want to make sure this is the right one, blah, blah, blah. Or are you going to give me issues getting this prescription now because, you know, other people abused it, this, that, and the other thing. And so that could be part of it as well. Also, I used to be a manager at a drugstore. Eckerd, did you guys have those?
No.
Oh, so I used to be a manager there, and the pharmacy, holy shit. I mean, that is such a busy job. Every time I go into a CVS, I wait probably at least a half an hour, even though I get a text saying my prescription's ready. Line is around the store every single time, no matter what time of day. And then people were getting mad because they said they were going to close from 1 to 1:30 for a lunch break. How dare they? And, you know, half of them sit there working through lunch anyway, filling pills and stuff. And it's like, can you people just like go a half hour later? Like, they're entitled to fucking lunch. But people are very demanding. And I think Walgreens and CVS will be hit the most as far as noticing just how needed these people are, because they're going to have a lot of elderly and disabled people coming in there who need their medication, and they can't stand there for an hour, you know, waiting for them to fill it, and they don't have access to do it online and such. So they're going to notice it. They definitely are. And I mean, that's a lot of responsibility to work at a drugstore. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And especially if they are not trained adequately, that is very dangerous for people who rely on their medication.
And you know what else? CVS's, and I noticed this, the first time I noticed this was when I was in LA. They're doing a lot of self-checkouts and having 0 associates in the store except the pharmacy. Literally 0.
So the pharmacists are the ones who are supposed to ring them out too?
Yeah, you just go up to the machine, check yourself out. I'm sure there's cameras, but there's no one up there to help you. So I'm going up there in LA and I'm like, I can't fucking see these buttons.
Right.
Like, what the hell am I supposed to fucking do? So I had to leave my stuff and go out. Now they're doing it at my CVS too. And it's like, I mean, at least I don't use self-checkouts anyway because it takes people's jobs and it's gross. Same. But anyway, so at least at grocery stores, when you do it, if the red light goes on or you fuck up, somebody comes over to help. There are literally 0 employees, like 0.
Yeah, that is a next level.
Fucking weird, dude. So like, cool, you have cameras. What if someone steals something? They're already 10 miles down the road. Like, what's the point, man? So yeah, that's how it's getting. But when it comes to prescriptions, can't do that.
No. All right. So now we're going to start going into the topic of Israel and Palestine. We're going to start with a take. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So, do you want me just to start by reading this guy's tweet?
Oh, yeah, we can read that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Eli Klein, who is Eli Klein, Joy?
I have no fucking clue. I read his bio and it said he's a photographer.
He's a photographer. Okay.
Okay, so I think there's a writer named Ezra Klein.
Yeah, that's a different person.
Right. Okay, so that's who I was thinking it was at
No.
first. And I'm like, huh? But no, this dude just says he's a photographer. I don't know, but his eyes look like he's not a nice person.
Yeah, I have some mutuals with this person. That's
I do
weird.
too.
That's strange. Anyway, yeah, art dealer, publisher, New Yorker. Okay, so he's a publisher he works for the New Yorker. Yeah. So this
Is that what he meant, or did he mean he is a New Yorker?
Oh.
Because that's how I questioned it at first.
I think you're right. Yeah. Okay. He's got an art gallery. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So he says, "Look, I'm a lifelong Democrat. Sorry, born and raised in New York City, but I've been saying this for years. The far left here are dangerous extremists. So we need more Republicans in governments here to protect New York from them." And then you said this stooge is talking like Pelosi when she said we need a really strong Republican Party. These people 24/7 demand their Democrat team sports, have hissy fits that someone isn't Democrat enough, bully or harass anyone who dare criticize someone in their cult, spout this trash, no self-reflection whatsoever.
Well, that just opened him up to, oh, he's still going at me right now. And
Yeah.
it's the most pathetic. Like, it's just. Like, tell people what he calls me. This is so fucking weird. I've never heard this.
Well, then he called you a clown.
Right, which, whatever. I hear people say that, but.
Well, what else?
Like, well, read what he says when he shared that and put a thing about me on his own page.
Tomorrow, join us to stand with the people of Palestine who have the right to resist apartheid, occupation, and oppression. Free Palestine.
I shared that, so I am a clown. And then he shared his post and said some stuff about me. If you click on the share button, like the quote tweets.
Okay, from what you originally said about him. Okay. Let's see here. The quote tweets.
No, his. If you scroll down a little.
Okay. His quote tweets.
No, keep going. Scroll down.
Yeah.
Keep going. Okay, where's the one where he said, call me a clown? He quote tweeted that.
Oh, okay. Let me just, because my computer is acting weird.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, he called me a long COVIDer. What was it?
Oh, that's okay.
A long COVID longer or something like that. I don't even know what the fuck it was. I've never heard of it in my life. Let me see. It was so fucking weird. I don't know what this means. I have no fucking clue. Okay, here it goes. I am a long COVIDian. Okay. He said, I am the only one I know of who said they were going to the Hamas rally and also a long COVIDian. First of all, I never said I was going. I would have, but it's in New York City and I live in Harrisburg. Long COVIDian. I don't know what the fuck that means, but this lady said, she goes, now this, I've never heard of this. It sounds like she's talking out her ass, but she said, apparently it's the DSA, people in the DSA, it's something they call them. And I'm like, I'm not even in the fucking DSA. What the fuck are you talking about? It's a term for the gene that many Dem socialists apparently share that make them much more susceptible to claiming long-term effects from real or imagined post-COVID infections. What? What the fuck? Like, what does this have to do with COVID? Like, what the fuck? What? I'm so confused. Like, talk about just pulling shit out of your ass. Like, what the fuck? So, dude, you win. You confuse the fuck out of me. You win. I'm old. I don't know these fucking terms. I try not to associate with racist shit libs like yourself, you know, with your fucking xenophobic shit. Like, people like him are going around and they're literally calling all Palestinians Hamas, just like they call all Russians terrorists. Like, they are very binary. Like, you know, everyone, all Ukrainians are good. You cannot say they're the Nazis, because if you do, you're a horrible person, because only some are. But when it comes to Palestinians, you need to say they're all Hamas. Like, it's such selective outrage, and it's like my brain feels like it's breaking even listening to these people. But yeah, I'm a long COVIDian.
Yeah. People on Twitter are weird.
Yeah, he's a real fucking genius.
Yeah. So I wanted to point out, which kind of goes to expand upon what Joy is saying in terms of, you know, the lack of nuance, right? And I think some of this lack of nuance comes from the fact that there is clear double standard in our media, right? When it comes to how they describe people in Palestine, Gaza, in this instance particularly, right? And people who are in Israel, right? And so this, I think, just sums it up very well right here. So, you know, more than 500 people have died in Gaza after Israel launched massive retaliatory airstrikes, according to Gaza's health ministry, right? So they just happened to die, right? More than 700 people have been killed in Israel since Hamas launched its attacks on Saturday. Right. And so I wanted to also bring up another interesting...
That's so... People don't even realize that they're reading that, you know? And it's that, like...
Of course. It's because it's become so normalized. Right?
Really? And it's like, you guys are being so programmed and you don't even realize it. Like, I analyze everything. And I noticed that before I saw the tweet, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Right. And I think, you know, so this is Chuck Modi. Chuck Modi has been on this show before. And I think he really brings about a really good point here, right? Where I'm going to show he maybe actually convinces somebody on Twitter to actually, to see another side of this if they hadn't already. But he says, as a Jew, I used to say the same atrocities on both sides, garbage that I hear today. In many ways, I didn't want to put in the actual work that might contradict that cowardly statement. There aren't two sides to Israeli apartheid. You just suck at math. Free Palestine. And so here's a chart. And he shows this chart, the Israel-Palestine conflict, the human cost from 2008 to 2023. So from 2008 to 2023, there have been 6,407 Palestinian deaths. I don't think this actually is counting this specific instance that happened.
Right.
There are 308 Israeli deaths from 2008 to 2023. And so look at this, look at how skewed it is with this chart, right? In 2008 to 2009, there was a 23-day assault on Gaza, right? And so you see a lot of how many people were killed there. 2012, 8-day assault on Gaza. 2014, 50-day assault on Gaza. 2021, 11-day assault on Gaza. And I wanted to bring across this person who, this person here, I guess this random Twitter account says, as a person who listens to what people have to say about their intentions, those numbers represent the abilities of each side, not their intent. Chuck Modi says that is not true. Ethnic cleansing is absolutely the intent of Netanyahu and the Israeli government, especially the last 16 years. Lots of quotes on this. This is, I'm going to mispronounce it, Yoav Gallant calling Palestinians animals just yesterday. That term is heard all the time. This ain't some random guy. He's the Israeli Minister of Defense. And he says, we are fighting human animals and we act accordingly. This person says if that were true, they would have done it by now. Whose ambition is to drive who into the sea? Chuck Modi says, no, if you commit complete genocide at once, you are enemy of the rest of the world. Netanyahu's strategy is to be so brutal, steal homes, kill and force a retaliation to justify the war crime that he's inflicting right now. The Israeli strategy is mow the lawn. You can research that. This account says, Nitra says, if that's the case, he's moving at an extremely slow pace. It's probably even the slowest genocide in recorded history. And then Chuck Modi says, and he brings the map, which I think is interesting, always good to look at the map for perspective. He says, that's the whole point of stealing homes and land in increments every year, even before the bombs. Bibi knows that you and others will accept it, and he's right, okay? And then we look at 1946, okay, 2 years before Israel came into being, right? You see all this Palestinian land, and you see some of, like, the white represents some of the Jewish settlements, essentially, right? And then the UN plan, partition, right? Some of the white, good amount of green, 1949 to 67, right? You see now Israel has extended, right? And you see the green in here. And then 2008, and this is kind of where we are now, majority white. And we have the Gaza down here, West Bank here, up here area. And then they say, that makes sense. They build settlements on their land and force them into smaller and smaller areas. Then when they lash out and fight back, they thin the herd with bombings, arrests, and more settlements. Repeat the plan long enough, and eventually they are gone. So that just...
Chuck, I love you.
Blew my mind. He literally just educated somebody, and they were like, oh, okay. Okay, I get it now.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna screenshot that and text it to Chuck and be like, you got this, right? That's badass.
Yeah.
But how fucking true is that? Like, we were talking before we went live, like, Palestinians, when you look at the map, like, their land is like this. Like, it's like so small, and it's supposed to be like, why can't you just let them live in peace? Another thing that I thought of, when they were showing the numbers, like over 6,000 deaths versus 300, the other thing is those numbers do not include the massive beatings, the rapes, the tortures. There are people who can't leave their house, and then when they do, they get whipped and cut and raped. Like, and this has been going on forever, like so many years. And these people who are all of a sudden very outraged by Hamas have never said a fucking word. Like, all us, we're on free Palestine all the time. For what, years? Ever since we came on Twitter and shit. Not them. Nope. Now it's just Israel.
And, I want to talk about one of the things that's been said a lot, particularly in the mainstream media, where the attack on Israel is their 9/11, right? Because I want to actually say there are similarities between 9/11 and what happened here, except it's not the type of similarities that maybe you would think or what they're saying in the mainstream media, right? The lack of putting it any into context and acknowledging the past pain that when it came to, okay, here's the thing, 9/11 was terrible, okay? 3,000 civilians died, right? That pales in comparison as to all the civilians that had died previously, whether directly or indirectly from the U.S. and what they had been doing to the Middle East and what the West had been doing to the Middle East, wiping out civilians and families, right? 9/11 was a retaliation. It wasn't because they hate our freedom or their way of life, as George Bush says, right? And this is exactly how they are trying to paint this attack from the Palestinians, right? It just came out of nowhere, right? This is horrible. Yeah, civilians should not, in any circumstances, be killed, right? However, so yeah, of course, that's wrong. But if you're going to ignore the past suffering, and like Joy, what you just said, right, when it comes to the daily rapes, when it comes to the daily blockade from God and the lack of food and the water, how the majority of their water is poisoned, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they call Gaza open air prisons. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, they also call it, but I think when it comes to prisons, for the most part, right, not to at least deny that we have terrible prison conditions, but for the most part, you are given water and food that you can eat. Okay, they're being blockaded from their food. So calling it an open air prison at this point is actually kind of charitable, right? It's worse than that. It's worse than a zoo, right? Animals are given food and water consistently. So that I think just puts into perspective, and that is regularly ignored. And so, yeah, what happened was terrible. And yeah, of course, I'm sorry for any people who are family members who are being harmed in Israel, but you cannot ignore everything that led up to that. And if you ignore suffering like that, there's going to be explosions like this, literally and figuratively. And yeah. So.
And, we were also talking before the show that, like, Bibi Netanyahu is a criminal. Like, he was actually removed from office and then let back in. He went to prison. So these people who are acting like he's a hero, they obviously know nothing about him. He is a terrorist. That's literally what he is. And he is a terrorist with the United States money and weaponry.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to show, there was one thing I had that I think really brings about it ties in the propaganda very well. Oh, here it is. It wasn't showing up, but basically a nod to low English, which give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull it up right here.
Yes, Haiti. Yes.
Yeah. So not hello English. Breaking. All right. Israeli army tells Nadalo, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, that they have no information confirming allegations and Hamas beheaded babies. So
I didn't even see this, and I'm glad I didn't. I didn't even see people saying that.
Oh, yeah, they've been saying that the last few days.
Here's the thing. How many times on Twitter, because I've seen it twice so far, and I haven't even really been online a lot because I've been so busy. How many times are you guys going to Twitter and seeing videos? Look at what the Palestinians are doing to Israel, and it's Palestinians in the video. Because I've already seen that twice on 2 different accounts. This is the kind of shit they do.
There was one video that people were trying to show as proof, and it literally looked to me like it was very zoomed in, and it literally looked to me like these children were just playing, like horse playing, and they were showing like, oh, look at what they're doing, like they're grabbing this kid and doing that. And I was like, first of all, it looks like they might just be playing. Like the whole thing was confusing to me. And I was like, look, if you show me like a video that's like a little bit more clearing on A, the setting, and B, like who the perpetrators are that are grabbing, like the context, like sure, I'll give you that there might be some wrong things going, but like this video makes no sense. Right? You're just saying that Hamas is doing all these things, and then this is, you're showing like a really zoomed in video. No, not clear on where it is, not clear on who the identity of the people outside. I'm just seeing a kid, right? You're gonna have to be more specific than that in order to verify.
Here's one exactly, and there was a picture I saw yesterday. I couldn't even comment. I was just so disgusted. They have Palestinian people with like a protest banner in Palestine, and they have a woman holding up her phone. I can't say the word because I'll take this down, but on the phone is it SWASTIKA. On her phone, a Palestinian woman, okay, going like this with her phone, and they want you to believe that's what's on her phone. Well, I'm blind, and I could see that shit was the worst copy and paste bullshit. It was like it didn't even line up. I'm like, oh my God. And this picture's going around, and people are putting it in, posts that say Free Palestine, and they're putting this picture, and I'm just like, oh my God, you really think a Palestinian woman has that? Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Right. It's like they're like payback for saying that there are and ends in Ukraine. Now they're like, well, they're in Palestine too.
Yeah. So you came up with it, or you saw this, Joy. I actually saw it too. I had an interesting exchange with some ignorant person on Twitter about this, but so Reese Gorman, they're reporting Rep Rashida Tlaib still has a Palestinian flag hanging outside her house office amid Hamas invasion of Israel.
So scroll down to the first comment, because it's like so just, yeah.
She's Palestinian American, yeah.
So if you guys look through these comments, there's no such thing. It should be American first. If she wants to do it, it should be American Palestinian, or like, I mean, just the dumbest fucking comments like ever.
I love this. Some American groups sometimes do horrible things. Does that mean it's wrong for me to hang an American flag? Yes.
That's what I said, but on the opposite, I said, well, hey, I'm not hanging an American flag because we're terrorists, so hey.
Right. Like, yeah. Okay, that's an ad. There's an Amazon ad on here. Cool.
Nice.
The implicit equivocation of Palestine to Hamas is an intentional misrepresentation meant to drive bigotry and contribute to the dehumanization of the Palestinian people. Also worth noting the basic fact Hamas it's a flag, and it's not the flag outside of Tlaib's office. It's a very good point. Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah. Bless your heart. Ooh, you got the bless your heart.
Wait. Ouch. Look, they just hate her. They hate Ilhan Omar. They just hate them. It doesn't. I mean, they look for things, and unfortunately, these people that like attack. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of issues with them, but when it comes to things like race or xenophobia or something, I'm always going to have their back, obviously, as anyone should, because we should separate that stuff. But these people who say this stupid shit. I don't think they've ever even looked at a map because they think everything's like one big thing. And it's like, it's just crazy. It is so crazy.
And I think that's the thing, I can only imagine Rashida Tlaib, she has family in Palestine, right? Like she has, I think, family in the West Bank, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure she is very stressed out about her family members too, because it's extra real for her because she has relatives there. And I think, Amira, who
I was just gonna say, one of our old co-hosts, Amira, shout out to her. She has not heard from much of her family who's in Palestine.
Right. So yeah, at least that was as of yesterday. So I don't know if there's been an update, but yeah. So I think that just makes it even more real. And that really just counters the narrative, right? Because of the media, there's so much othering, but it's like there are people all over this country that have family members back in Gaza, the West Bank, right? In Israel that, just like there are people who have family here in Israel, right? And so we have to acknowledge it. Yeah,
absolutely. And just so everybody knows, like, I think I could speak for both of us when we say we don't want war, regardless if it's with one place or another place. Yeah. We don't want war.
And we do not want civilians killed.
Exactly. Regardless what country, what area.
Israel killed. I do not want civilians in Gaza and the West Bank killed. And I also don't want civilians in Gaza and the West Bank continuously oppressed every day of their lives. Everybody has the right to food and water. And yeah.
Yep.
And so.
Because it's very, you know how like online goes. It's like, I will say, I don't want anyone to die in Ukraine, but I also don't want anyone to die in Russia. And they're like, oh, you love Russia. And it's like, listen to what I said. I just don't want anyone to die. I don't want war. Like, it's really that simple. Like, there doesn't always have to be like a bad guy. Like, it's black and white. This country's good. That country sucks. And it's like, for some reason, the brown countries always are the ones that suck. I don't know.
Yeah. Wanted to address this comment from Ilhanar saying, you don't hear a word from Rashida Tlaib. Her people are being bombed and nothing from Rashida. Just want to mention there was a statement that came out from Rashida Tlaib regarding it. You can decide for yourself if that's sufficient or if she went hard enough. But
no, I think they meant like other than this.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I just wanted to clarify, like, just in terms of objectively, she did make a statement. Whether or not you don't, if you think she'd be doing more, absolutely. I'm just saying she hasn't completely gone mum about it like some other politicians have.
Yeah. My God, though. The only politician or candidate or anyone I saw that gave an even half acceptable response is Jeremy Corbyn, and he's not fucking American. The candidates, the represented, oh my fucking God. Like, abysmal. Just absolutely abysmal. And yeah, I'm including you, Cornell. I'm including you. Sorry. The worst, RFK Jr., hands down.
Oh, it's always the worst. Yeah.
He's just a fucking mess. But Yeah, it was like one after another. They were just egregious. It's like, just, I'd rather you not say anything. Just shut up, because you just don't. Just don't.
Right.
I do.
So, now we're going to. So now we're going to bring up something that Hillary Clinton recently
I apologize.
said.
I apologize.
So video.
I can't. I mean, I know her voice and the cackle and stuff, but this is like a very serious thing that needs to be dissected, because it is fucked up, even for her. You're not showing it.
Okay. 1 second. That's what she said. She said nothing.
Very strong partisans in both parties in the past. And we had very bitter battles over all kinds of things, gun control and climate change and the economy and taxes. But there wasn't this little tail of extremism wagging the dog of the Republican Party as it is today. Mm-hmm. And sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen.
Okay. This is a woman who did not support same-sex marriage until 2013. And the reason I bring that up is because she sounds like someone that would be doing that, like, deprogramming of gay people. That's what she fucking sounds like. That is so beyond psychotic and fascist, and like, I don't care if you don't like MAGA people. Like, to say they need to be deprogrammed, that is fucking psycho. Like, absolutely psycho. And I'll admit, a lot of us burners have a meme and made jokes about how Hillary supporters need a lobotomy, but we weren't being serious. I wasn't anyway. But, like, what the actual fuck? Also, bitch, you're the one that told him to run, okay? So let's just stop right now, because she's the one who asked him to run. She says all this shit about him and is like, you're the one that was friends with him for 40 fucking years. Like, did you not know he was this, that, and the other when you were friends, and all of a sudden you found out? No.
Well, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump do have a good amount in common. But
sure do.
Yeah. One thing I'll add to this that was really interesting, that, it's one of those things that you don't really think about when it comes to deprogramming, particularly cult members. There's an account on Twitter who I'm blanking on the name, but she used to be part of the Moonies, which I think maybe a lot of you may know about Moonies.
Part of the what?
The Moonies. They're
the Moonies. Gotcha.
Moonies, yeah, unificationists.
Right.
Who, yeah, I actually, sidebar, I grew up with a lot of unificationists. But yeah, so she used to be part of them. And she actually was talking about how a lot of deprogrammers are extremely dehumanized. Like, they actually sometimes torture people to get them out of cults themselves, and they actually used cult-like tactics to deprogram them from the cult, which made me just very much, she was talking about how a relative of her. Actually, I think her mom to get deprogrammed from the Mooney cult, I believe, her grandmother had her kidnapped and then put in a basement for a while and like hit right like some of these deprogrammers can be really abusive. And so that just made me think more and more. And I think honestly, this came from the fact that Hillary Clinton said this, right? About deprogramming. So that just I think put it in even a different perspective where it's like, obviously it's good to get people out of cults. Don't think I'm saying you should have them stay in cults, but you can't be using the same type of tactics to have people quote unquote snap out of the cult, because the whole idea is you need to help them understand the harm that the cult is doing and have them be like, this person that is controlling your mind essentially should not be an authority piece of mind. You should think for yourself. And if you're telling them do whatever the opposite of the cult is, you're not actually telling them to think for themselves. You're using the same tactics and further causing them psychological harm. So yeah, I just found that really interesting. And yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And like, let's be real. If anyone wanted to implement that, it's going to be her. I mean, it's not shocking she said that. But at the same time, it's like shit libs are a cult. So yes, they're not the same kind of cult per se, but there is a blue MAGA. So, I mean, talk about deprogramming. We need to deprogram them to, actually start thinking for themselves. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what it comes down to, the thought of deprogramming is just such a fascist thing. It's like, my beliefs are so much better than yours, and I'm going to literally do tests on you and psychological experiments on you so you're more like me. That's psycho.
Yeah. So now we're going to go into a meme about Biden.
It's supposed to be a funny, but I don't know if it is. I mean, it is, but
it's a take, all right.
It's a take.
Kind of an offensive one, but it's a take. Okay, it's this one. Got it. Here we go. Why can't I find it? Okay. Just give me 1 second. Here it is.
In all its glory.
Joe Biden, our third Black president.
I can't. Okay, so the first one was Bill, Slick Willie, who, was married, who literally had house slaves with his super predator wife, who wore blackface as well. Very, friendly to people of color. The second one was, of course, Obama. And now the third one is Biden, who, did the crime bill and, all these awesome things. All three of them have been great to people of color. So I get it. Also, Biden said, if you don't vote for me,
will be Mayor Pete.
What's that?
The fourth one will be Mayor Pete.
Oh my God, totally. And, Andrew and I were talking before we started, and I said, did you see all the articles and polls that are coming out that say young Black men have no interest in voting for Biden? And then this article comes out. I'm like, this is going to have the exact opposite of what you intended to do. This is like literally a fucking joke.
Another poll came out somewhere that young people, and to be fair, they said in this poll they define young people as 45 and below.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're in, Joy.
Right on the cusp.
Yeah. I think when you put in that age range, Trump actually is polling better than Biden, which
I
is
believe it.
that was literally the demographic that he relied on to beat Trump. So we're doing great, everybody. We're doing great.
I mean, Trump's going to win again. I mean, anyone who thinks Biden is going to win is like so completely in denial. He's not going to
Can
win.
happen between now and then, but hey, it's not looking great now.
I mean, we're fucked either way, but
sure.
Unless Biden dies, like he's, I don't fucking know. That was a joke, YouTube. That was a joke. Don't take this down. But yeah,
I don't. Gavin Newsom will be taking over. That's what they seem to want. So yeah, that's this week's episode of Post.
Always uplifting, yay!
Pretty morbid show, going with the post-mortem theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are. So before I forget, Andrew, do you want to promote or announce anything?
No.
Okay, so for me, Jenna, I think I see you. Whoopsie. Can you put my buy me a coffee in the comments, please? I am trying to raise money to get back to East Palestine. There's a few things going on that are coming up. I would like to get back there and also hopefully even bring more mutual aid. But I certainly can't do it on my own. So buy me a coffee is rather than a Patreon, which is like an amount every month. Buy me a coffee is just you give. It's like a super chat, but they don't take money out of it. So yeah, anything you could chip in helps, and it'll go to me getting back to EP. Also, Reverend Annie, who's been on the show multiple times, Reverend Annie Chambers, Black Panther. She did the March on Washington. She is a goddess in mutual aid. She is just a revolutionary. Like, I know that word gets thrown around. She is an actual revolutionary, and in my mind, the only living one there is. And she is facing eviction right now. And the reason being is because she's doing mutual aid out of her home. She was threatened with arrest. And now she had them come in unannounced and take pictures. Very invasive, tell her about her disability, tell her about her age, tell her that she needs to do this, that, and the other, or she's going to be evicted. It's not okay. This woman is a fucking queen. She is a saint. So what I told her I would start a petition that we're going to give to the housing authority. She lives in essentially the projects, and it's all people who have no money. So what she does is she collects donations online, or people in the community bring her things. She collects diapers, food, clothes, whatever, and anytime someone in the community needs something, they knock on her door and say, hey, do you have a dozen eggs? Hey, do you have detergent? Blah, blah, blah. So she has stuff in her house that people donate. She has asked 3 churches to take over. All of them have said no. So she's like, if I don't do it, no one else is going to. And anyone who knows who she is knows she's not going to stop. Like, she's not going to stop. So it's on us to, do this petition. Let's go. Let's give it to her fucking landlords. Let's give it to the housing authority and say, you have a lot of audacity to come out at 83-year-old woman in a wheelchair who has never asked you for a single thing of help ever, never asked you for any kind of accommodations whatsoever, and now telling her she has all these things wrong and needs to leave. No, we can't do this shit. So if you're on social media, I have the petition link on my Twitter and Facebook. If you're not, you can go to change.org, Reverend Annie Chambers. But please sign that. We only have 23 signatures. That's just not enough. I mean, this woman is a revolutionary. We need this shit big. She's counting on us. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing is Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be on Lee Camp's show, and we will be playing the very first clips from when I met with the douchebag Mark Durno in East Palestine. He's on the board of the EPA. Me, Jenna, and one of the residents, Christine, we went and met with him in his office, and I recorded our 91-minute in-person meeting at the East Palestine EPA. There's some fucked up shit on those tapes. So I'll be with Lee 3:30 p.m. Eastern Friday, and you're going to be able to hear the first clips from it. You don't want to miss it. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, please watch and share last night's show with my friend Temujin Kensu. For those who just joined, I interviewed him again from prison. He's been wrongly incarcerated for 37 years. Please, if you watch any other show, please watch last night's and share. We got to get him out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Much love.